barely settled in the University of Ngaoundéré in the Adamawa region of Cameroon. A tense relationship exists already between the rector of the University of Ngaoundéré, Professor Ifechinje Melo, and Professor Mesanga Nyamding, who was a former head of department at the Institute of External Relations of Cameroon in Yaoundé and lecturer at that same institution. It was a disturbing atmosphere today, even while lecturers, students, bike riders, and some people of Ngaoundéré came out to say welcome Mesanga Nyamding. Professor Ife Melo Chinje saw that as distraction and disorder in the university establishment. We shall be telling you more in this edition of the news. Meantime, the Northwest Regional Council, barely a few weeks into activities, is planning to get to the rescue of persons who lost their shops at the Bamendankwe market. The heads of the Economics and Development Commission of the Northwest Regional Assembly says it will be one of the major first on-the-ground actions of the Northwest Regional Council. These stories and more will be yours in the course of this newscast. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. Thanks for joining us on the primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. We're live from our central news desk in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. It is 6 p.m. in Douala and same time in Abuja, in the neighboring Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we'll begin with news from Bamenda in the northwest region of Cameroon to say that the head of the Economic and Development Commission of the Northwest Regional Council has visited the site of the fire incident at the Bamendankwe market in the Bamenda 1 municipality. During his visit, he promised that one of the key programs, on-the-ground programs of the Northwest Regional Assembly includes a financial assistance, a huge package, financial assistance reserves for those who lost their shops in a fire incident at that market. Simat Njikan Gabriel tells us more in the following report.
10 shops were destroyed by fire last Sunday at the Bamendankwe market in the Bamenda 1 subdivision of the Northwest region. Amongst the 10 shops was a building material, electronics, electrical, general food provisions, and bag stores. As the owners of these shops continue to wonder where they are to begin, the Commissioner of Economic Development at the Northwest Regional Council, Ngenjung Awunti, was at the Bamendankwe market to evaluate the damages caused by the inferno on behalf of the President of the Northwest Regional Council.
Business owners who have lost significantly, and we pledge to support the Bamenda 1 Council to ensure that these our sisters and brothers who have lost significant capital stand back on their feet, because this market has to be revived. This market is a mainstay of Mendankwe 1, and these merchants have to be on their feet so the economy of the region can keep growing and they take care of their families.
Accompanied by the mayor of Bamenda 1 Council, Mbinga Nja Felix, both agreed to first of all make the stores usable before helping the victims financially to re-equip their shops. The fire that occurred last Sunday was provoked by a short circuit as the zone recorded general low voltage. The Bamendankwe market is the only source of revenue for the Bamenda 1 Council.
One of the on-the-night or underground activities that has developed in Cameroon faster as a result of the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon is the sale of illicit fuel in Cameroon, commonly referred to in these regions as funge ozwazwa, which is said to be brought in from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a phenomenon that is gaining ground in other regions of Cameroon. In order to fight this, Cameroon's Ministry of Water and Energy has created a task force that is said to be specialized in the destruction of makeshift structures where this fuel is sold in several towns and cities across Cameroon, as Charles Equinoxe tells us in the following report.
The rates at which adulterated fuel is being sold across the country is alarming, reason why the Ministry of Water and Energy has created a task force and brigade authorized to prohibit the promotion of this illegal activity, says Mbusop Nasser, member of the National Brigade in the fight against adulterated fuel.
From one town to another, you see everywhere everybody is selling fuel, which is not authorized. That is why the Minister of Water and Energy authorized us to put in place this brigade and fight against this illicit activity. And we started in Yaoundé, Douala, but some today we are still on the major axis, Ideya.
Mbusop Nasser also outlines the risk involved in the sale of adulterated fuel, which has been causing disasters across the national territory.
When you want to deal with this activity, you must ask for license or authorization to the ministry. The minister will send a competent authority to come and check whether all the security measures are taken before you start the activity. But when you see somebody just wake up in the morning, go and buy 1 or 2 gallons and start selling without knowing the risk, sometimes they are sleeping with this product, and that's why you hear that you have fire outbreak here and there. People are putting this thing even in the kitchen without knowing the risk. That's why we are out today to stop this activity, and we are continue the activity in other axis.
Furthermore, he says this growing phenomenon has pushed the Ministry of Water and Energy to initiate the creation of a law which is to be stipulated by the Ministry of Justice for the strict prohibition of this activity.
We are seeing the situation with the Ministry of Justice to see whether there is a law that can try to sue those who are doing this dangerous activity, so that we will not limit only to catch the product, but we will take them to justice.
It should be recalled that the quality of this fuel destroys automobiles in the long run. Moreover, within the year 2020 and 2021, there has been a series of deaths as a result of the poor manipulation of these products. Like the Ministry of Water and Energy, it's time we put an end to the sale of adulterated fuel in the country.
And the Kumba City Council is poised to fight insecurity and disorder in the chief town of the Meme division. One of the moves on the ground is the one taken recently by the Kumba City Mayor. The move is said to have resulted to the evacuation of several traders who initially settled along the Kake line. The Kake line is a stretch of road linking the city of Boya to the High Court, the city of Kumba to the High Court, and the Court of First Instance. The people say the evacuation of these traders who have been sent behind the Kumba grandstand is a major step by the city council management. They also said that their presence on the side has caused a lot of disorder and given Kumba a very dirty image. Details with Equinoxe Tv.
This is how deserted and calm the Kake line, commonly called by traders in Kumba, has become. The Kumba City Council has relocated traders who used to occupy and block the High Court street through the Court of First Instance to a newly created market behind the grandstand.
That has been our desire, not only getting a suitable place for the commercial persons to sell their, for the buyer and sellers to sell their products, for the bikers also to transport people to the market, but then we also achieved order along that stretch of the road. When you go there now, I think the magistrates, the lawyers, and even other city dwellers, even the people of the neighborhood who have cars, who could not ply the road because the marketers were there, packed full, not even security. The police, last time I was there, the police van could not even drive through. My own personal van could not drive through. all of such problems are now solved. The magistrates can get to their courts, their offices, on time, unperturbed.
Even some of the relocated traders who spoke to us hailed the action of the Kumba City Council.
We'll be happy. Because as it don't move for that place, you can't show this place and manage today. We'll be very grateful. For me, I feel for bring this market for another best idea.
Bringing the market here, to me, is a very good idea because where we occupied at first, years back, recorded frequent accidents since we were at a roadside. It will be good if we are here permanently.
You go here, say, wake up again, go someplace. Yes. If it they permanent for you, they fine.
This realized move, according to the city mayor, will not only institute order, but also enhance security of persons using this stretch of road.
There can be security in town. So we enable them, be able to go and perform their own duties, which is very, very important, of course, for the peace and unity and order in our community, to be maintained.
To the relocated traders, if the new market gets overcrowded, the city council should kindly create another to avoid the disorder syndrome it is fighting against.
Population we don't come up for this time because of this wahala. Where you go, they come back.
Innocent as a reporting there. As announced in our top stories, we take you to Ngaoundéré in the Adamawa region of Cameroon to say that Professor, or after a controversial transfer, Professor Pascal Charlemagne Mesanga Nyamding, as you can see in your images there, has finally arrived in Ngaoundéré in the Adamawa region of Cameroon. The former lecturer of the International Relations Institute of Cameroon, ERIC, and former head of the Department of Integration and Cooperation for Outbound Development at the institution, ERIC, was given a heroic welcome by students, bike riders, some colleagues, and inhabitants of the city of Ngaoundéré. The heroic welcome reserved for Professor Pascal Charlemagne Mesanga Nyamding will finally become a SAR. It became SAR after the intervention of the rector of the University of Ngaoundéré, Professor Ufe Chinje Melo, who saw that as a disorder in his university campus and asked those who came to welcome the professor to go away. It became tense with the inhabitants insisting, or those who came to welcome him insisting that they will stay, a situation that also provoked Professor Charlemagne Mesanga Nyamding, who expressed his feelings in the following extract translated from French to English by Charles Ekome.
They came to welcome me and they have the right to welcome me. Why chase them away? Do not give out the impression that we are causing disorder here. The head of state knows that I am in Ngaoundéré.
And Professor Mesanga Nyamding, after the difficult encounter with the rector of the University of Ngaoundéré, also had time to talk to some pressmen who also turned out at the University of Ngaoundéré. He insisted that he was not transferred to the University of Ngaoundéré, but was sent there in total violations of the rules guiding the transfer of documents of lecturers in universities in Cameroon. Take a listen to him once again in the following extract.
D'abord, je voudrais corriger quelque chose. Ce n'est pas une affectation.
I want to make things clear. I was not transferred to Ngaoundéré. I was removed from my university and put at the disposal of the University of Ngaoundéré. It's not a transfer. It's a transmission in violation of the rules guiding the transfer of documents of lecturers. I, however, accepted to come because I am law-abiding, a member of the CPDM Central Committee and a close collaborator of the head of state. I said I will come here despite this terrible administrative error. In reality, it is a political witch hunting against me from a high personality in this country. Someone who is close to the head of state, who is against me because of our differences in political opinions. he has decided to punish me.
Politique qui a décidé effectivement.
And now we talk of COVID-19 after the arrival of over 11,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines to the Northwest region. The Northwest Regional Delegate of Public Health, Dr. Che Kingsley Saw, has called on the population of the region to disregard all theories aimed at discouraging people from taking COVID-19 vaccines. He was speaking at the Northwest Regional Governor's Office during the ceremony to receive the COVID-19 vaccines to the region. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more in the following report.
The official launch of the vaccination campaign for the fight against the spread of COVID-19 ongoing in the Northwest region. The representative of the governor of the Northwest region, Viang Minkala, becomes the first person in the region to get the first shot of the Sinopharm vaccine.
For me, I think that I'm very privileged, I'm honored on behalf of His Excellency the Governor of the Northwest region that I'm representing. I'm very happy, I'm feeling fine after having received the first dose of the vaccine. And the government promised the population that vaccine will come, and today it is effective. We have received the vaccine here in the Northwest region.
The Regional Delegate of Public Health, Dr. Kingsley Chetso, believes the vaccine can better mitigate the spread of the coronavirus.
The vision of expert committees is a Sinopharm vaccine. A vaccine that is very effective against COVID-19. Looking at the clinical trial data, it is 79% effective against the symptomatic form of the disease and 100% effective against the severe form of the disease. And so we think that it's the right vaccine for us, and we're very happy to have had this vaccine with us in the Northwest region. We've received 11,400 doses, and so we're looking forward to vaccinating at least 5,700 persons. And this is going to be happening during the next couple of weeks.
Apart from frontline health workers, persons above 60 years, diabetic and hypertensive patients will be prioritized during this first phase of the vaccination campaign. He urges all medical personnel to mobilize themselves to receive the vaccine and above all, continue respecting barrier measures.
We selected 23 health facilities that are going to be giving out these vaccines in priority to health personnel. We all know how health personnel have suffered from the COVID-19, and I think it explains in part why they've been chosen as priority to be administered the vaccine during the first phase. And again, we have to encourage even the health personnel who shall benefit from the vaccination to continue to respect barrier measures that have been prescribed by the Ministry of Public Health.
During the launch of the vaccination campaign, it was revealed that COVID-19 test kits were insufficient. Accumulative data presented by Dr. Kingsley Cheso reveals that the region has registered 4,580 positive cases and 173 deaths.
And before going to talking points, we take you to information out of Cameroon, to the West Africa and Burkina Faso, where Blaise Compaoré, a former president of Burkina Faso, is to stand trial for the murder of Thomas Sankara, the man who he ousted from power in 1987. A military tribunal announced that on Tuesday. Mr. Compaoré was forced into exile in 2014 after he attempted to change the law to extend his rule. A warrant of arrest was issued in 2016 against him. A military tribunal on Tuesday indicted him for attack on state security, complicity in murder, and the concealment of corpse. That is, 13 other people are among those charged, along with the former president of Burkina Faso. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for the first part of news. Coming up is Talking Point. We're happy to receive you on Talking Point. We are having as guest today Dr. Nick Kwajam. Doctor, thanks for accepting our invitation once again.
Thank you.
We're always very happy to have you, especially when critical issues are to be discussed.
I hope that will be up to the task.
You are up to the task, of course. Doc, we want to start with some of the striking things that caught your attention. You watch news, you are here early enough, and of course you watch news from start to finish.
That's right. I think I was looking at this element coming from Gandhi and it's making me laugh. I mean, Professor Nyamdi should realize that he's a civil servant like anyone else and should go wherever he is sent to work. And the people in Gandhi, that's Cameroon, and as a civil servant, you're called upon to work anywhere. I don't know why he thinks that he's special and that because he's close to the president, there's something special about that. No, it's not written anywhere that when you are close to the president, you cannot work anywhere else in the country. And I think that is what has killed this nation, where some people think that they're so close to the president that they can break the laws, they can do whatever they want. And I think that is completely wrong, and he's giving the youth a very wrong example.
Professor Mesanganyamdi says he's not been transferred. He uses a word in French that his documents have been mis à la disposition de l'université de Gandhi, giving the impression that it's quite different from what obtains in a normal transfer.
Well, if he doesn't believe that, then he can go rent a house in Gandhi and stay in Gandhi, but he is not allowed to teach in Eric. It's just as simple as that. He can do whatever he wants.
And when you watch the move of the rector of the university coming to disperse those who came to say welcome Professor Mesanganyamdi,
it's part of Cartier activity. She's not supposed to do that. I mean, she would have just left them alone. They would have done whatever they are doing. I mean, they are all educated professors and they are all CPDM hierarchy. So you see, it's part of that cacophony and confusion the way we do business. It's so unhealthy. It's Cartier kind of behavior.
One of the issues before we move out of this is Professor Mesanganyamdi, in his interviews, gives the impression or gives the understanding that there's some political witch hunting.
Well, if there are people who are supposed to complain about political witch hunting, it's Northwest and Southwest, not him. I mean, he should just... I don't know why everybody thinks that he must be appointed. Where is it written that he has something special about him and that he must be appointed? If he choose to be singing the praises to President Paul Biya never promised him that if you sing praises to me. President Paul Biya never promised him that if you sing praises to me, I would appoint you. So I don't see what the noise is all about.
Professor Mesanganyamdi, he insisting, of course, you got him there also insisting that he's a member of the CPDM Central Committee, he's a law-abiding citizen. He decided to come to Gandhi despite what he says are political or administrative blunders and errors.
No, the nation does not belong to CPDM. The nation belongs to Cameroonians, and he is a civil servant and he's called to work there. If he doesn't like it, he can resign.
One of the major things that is at the center of debate, one of the major things at the center of debates now in Cameroon is COVID-19 and the vaccines. Though we just watched a report from the Northwest region where the delegates for public health, Dr. Chair Kingsley, saw calls on the people of the Northwest region to shy away from what he says are conspiracy theories and theories that are meant to discourage people from getting themselves available for vaccination against COVID-19.
Yeah, he's right. He's right in saying so, but you cannot really just blame the people for shying away. They are shying away for a reason, and it's left to us to understand why they are shying away and to help them understand that they are not going to be risking themselves if they come for the vaccines. And like I was saying sometime elsewhere, the problem is when a patient is sick and you go to a medical doctor here stands for anybody working in a hospital or a hospital service, there must be an element of trust. And when that element of trust is not there, if the bond is broken, then people are bound to feel uncomfortable because you're subjecting yourself to somebody and you think that that person is going to look after you and give you the best without hurting you. So if there's already a thought in one's mind that whatever you're going to do, there's a likelihood that they will be hurt, then of course they have a reason, and they have a reason to sit back a little bit and watch and try to ask questions about what you are doing, and you don't just expect people to throw themselves at you as if they were sheep. Is wrong. So it is left to the health personnel, it's left to the government, it's left to everybody to educate the public and tell them, look, it is in your best interest that we take this vaccine, and in so doing you show the good example And when the population is looking at what you have done before and what you are forcing them to do now, they say, look, in the past you have not shown us any sense of excellence in the way you do business, so we're not just going to trust you blindly, especially when Americans, everyone else is not trusting what is happening. It's not like it's just Cameroonians. The world over, there are a lot of questions being asked, but no answers are forthcoming.
Particularly to COVID-19, it looks like we've not always had this kind of distrust from the population vis-a-vis vaccines or the management of vaccines from public health officials.
Yes,
what is
of
so
course.
particular about COVID-19?
What is particular about COVID-19 is that there are so many unanswered questions about it. And in as much as many of these unanswered questions are the world over, but we come into our environment and then we do business a la Cameroonese, which creates even more confusion. Like I was saying somewhere else, in the first phase of the COVID-19, you see that a lot of people, they followed the instructions of government with hand washing, distancing, mask wearing, and so on, and it was very effective. But this time around, you realize that there's those buckets are standing everywhere, no water, no soap, and what have you, and you are wondering what is going on. People are crowded. You see, like in Douala, in Marché Central, at Carrefour, what do you call some Carrefour over there, where it's very crowded, like that, Ndokoti, and so something is happening is because when you are doing something and it doesn't make sense and there's no consistency, people are bound to kind of like sit back a little bit, because when the government gave the instructions, people were following the instructions. Then somewhere along the line, when they were lifting the ban, they lifted the ban for the bars. And in Cameroon, you gave the impression that drinking was more important than many other activities, and then people just got lost in alcohol, and the sachet whiskeys and everything, they showed up again, and people in their drunken state, it's very difficult to kind of like analyze that to make sense. That said, even the money that the government made available, the World Bank or whoever made available for the COVID-19, most of those funds disappeared into places that we don't know. So when things like this are happening, people don't trust the system.
Yes, talking about consistency, I got you there outlining the fact that when it came to lifting measures, some sectors measures were maintained for some cases, and in other cases measures lifted. You cited the issues about bars and so on, but can that also not be attributed to some sort of irresponsible behavior from the population when you want to look at the fact that they are no longer washing their hands regularly, they are no longer maintaining social distancing, whereas the measures are still there in place by the government, as reiterated by the Prime Minister most recently?
No, it's not about telling people. When you just tell people, and because you have a big stamp and whatever, and you think they would obey because you're a big man, it doesn't work like that. It's about trust. People have to trust you, and then you have to always be showing the way, leading them and educating them and doing the right things. And whatever you do, you have to do it in along with the population.
Yes.
And once you do that, the population comes with you, and you'll be able to get some results. But that said, even if we're not having results with the COVID issue, it is because of a general malaise in the nation, where you've had bad governance and bad management in many sectors and so on, so that it shows. If you go to countries where they were doing business properly without the COVID-19, when the COVID-19 comes, it's easy to manage it because the structures are there and many things are working. But you come into a system that is chaotic, where nothing works.
Okay, it means even before the what you say, the poor or that is inconsistent management of COVID-19, there was already some distrust.
That is right. That's right. The way we manage ourselves, the way we do business, the economics is not working. Nothing is working. So when nothing is working, the COVID-19 comes to make a bad situation worse. Are you getting what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Then you are trying to correct that situation with the COVID situation in a bad in a bad foundation. That's when you are having a lot of difficulties, and because the COVID challenged our economic systems.
And with the management of COVID fund, what management of these funds meant for COVID, how have they then contributed in creating or distancing the gap, widening the gap between the people and the government in terms of trust?
Well, if you take a good example, you remember there was some chief in some village somewhere where the prefect went and gave him some buckets, some black buckets like
yes,
that for
was
concrete.
In the south region.
Yes, and then the man genuinely complained, said, "Look, I don't like this buckets. How do we use it?" And then he was insulted and abused and threatened by the SDO. So the SDO was doing the wrong thing. Kind of like breathing down on the people. It is that approach. It's that approach where you treat people as if they are kids. If you come and you want people to be part of something that you are doing and you want them to behave properly, you have to get them to understand what you are doing, and there should be that rapport. But when you break the rapport and you think that you can just keep urinating on people and getting them to work, it doesn't work like that.
There's been this recent move from the government or the key stakeholders in public health. I want to talk about the fact that the minister Manahuda Malashi went ahead to take his jab in Yaoundé when the vaccines just arrived. Is that not worthy enough to give trust to the people to say, oh, we are not just pushing you people into this, we too, we need this, and we are putting up an example?
I think he has every reason to have taken the jab first, and all his collaborators and more should actually take the jab. Not that we don't trust the jab. I think the jab is great, and by taking that jab, he encourages everybody to take it, and it's a good thing. And I was going to say that when you look at the way those funds were distributed, many ministers had a lot of money and we don't know what they did with the money. But I can still remember that at least the Minister of Territorial Administration, even with the little he had, he was running around giving some buckets, and that was something we could see. Whether that was effective or not is another thing, but at least we could see something happening. But he looks like he got only 1 billion or something out of it, though there were some other billions that were hanging left and right. But on a whole,
people should have actually been given a transparent account on how that money was.
We are not accountable in the way we do business.
And most of the people say the fact that we recently saw some documents asking of some serious auditing into how that money was used wasn't because the money was actually mismanaged, but it was because it was necessary for a second funding to come from the world, that is the IMF.
Yes, I mean to be audited is not a crime, it's not a bad thing, it's been normal. You give account of how you use things. I mean, it's just because people have been used to just doing whatever they want. So when there's an audit, it looks like something was abnormal. But of course, people who didn't use the funds well, there would be a lot of trouble, because I mean, when you take the Ministry of Scientific Research, they told us about some Nivaquine that we never. I don't know whether you saw the Nivaquine, might be in the hospitals, I don't know. Then that there was going to be some Fimbagras or something like that, but that was it, and there was nothing else. And that was, we are talking of 6 billion or I don't know how many billions. So it's crazy.
And it comes to talk to that portray a very bigger image of the lack of transparency, accountability in most of those cases, because it should be normal that after a budget is given to you, at the end of the day, you give an account on how the money was used, especially when it's public funds.
Yes, but you know that in Cameroon there's been a lot of problems because people steal a lot from the state budget, and it's a very bad habit. And worst of all, when it comes to the management of COVID, what we are supposed to do is to train ourselves to produce most of the things that we need, and to be able to solve our own problems ourselves. Even the mask, we have to import them. Things as simple as hand sanitizers. We go importing with little problems. And I remember just when COVID started, there was a technical college somewhere in Yaoundé that were trying to make face masks, and the Minister of Secondary Education went there and insulted them, which I think is wrong. I mean, we were supposed to build our capacities so that we can manage our things. Because now, even as much as we complain about the vaccines, we should be in a position to make our own vaccines. After all, our nation has been making vaccines, for animal use somewhere in the north, in Gaoundé, somewhere for years now. And it's true that making vaccines for COVID-19 is a little bit more tricky, but when you are looking at the Sinopharm vaccine, the Sputnik vaccine, which is Russian, and then the AstraZeneca, and I think Johnson, they have made those vaccines, if I'm not mistaken, using the old technology for making vaccines. So if even African countries, if they had pulled together, some of their scientists pulled together their energies, would have been able to make some of the vaccines instead of running after other people and complaining all the time.
And you citing the vaccines, and I was about to come to that, because just today, we followed declarations that Cameroon is due to receive this quantity of Sputnik, for example, Johnson's, for example, this quantity. Cameroon is also expected to receive AstraZeneca, which was initially the rollout was initially ordered by the Minister of Public Health, and then we received the Chinese vaccines already. It means Cameroon is considering a lot of these vaccines. Is it an advantage or a disadvantage, though?
It's an advantage to an extent. I mean, and I would say again that, you know, if you look at the vaccines clearly, the vaccines that are on the market are in two categories, depending on the way they are made. Like as I was saying, that the vaccines that use the whole virus and the technique for making the viruses, I mean the vaccines are the old technology. We know the technology and we know what the other additions and components are. Then there's this other technique that is used by Pfizer that is using messenger RNA, and the technology is is new and poorly understood, and we don't know what the long-term effects are. And therefore, when we are looking at things like modified foods, you know, there's some modified foods, I forgot it, genetically modified foods, with all sorts of other things that are happening around the world, you know, modifying genes and so on. When you start putting in things that could modify the genetic nature of man, then that's a little bit tricky. So you can understand all.
Then why would the government then go ahead to want to import AstraZeneca, for example, and Johnson & Johnson, where we've had reports of blood cloth with regards to these vaccines?
It's well, I'm sure they're looking at it very cautiously, and somebody's done some studies. But even though we take the it's called Sinopharm or whatever, yes. But you know, the Chinese also are so secretive that you never can tell exactly what they're doing.
And now, with this tense debate on these vaccines, Doc, I'm following it on WhatsApp. Are you for or against the opinion that these vaccines be administered compulsorily on people?
The vaccine should be made available to Cameroonians, not compulsorily, but if you feel like it, you can go and take it. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, I would say that even though it is not compulsory, it should be compulsory for people that take decisions. All right. It should be compulsory for people that take decisions. And then in the third place, I would encourage that the government should set aside some funds, because of course when we set funds in Cameroon, they always disappear. But they should set apart some funds and some emergency funds, just in case anybody in the community takes the vaccine and runs into trouble. Those money from there can be used to look after such people, and they should not just be abandoned to themselves.
And finally, the vaccines have been sent into the crisis hit regions, the northwest and southwest regions, with the uncertainty that they can be easily administered in very remote areas where we know access has been very difficult, all this while because of security issues.
No, the vaccines can go there by military, whatever, helicopter or whatever. And don't forget that we had great elections even when the war was going on, so that's not a problem.
No, the elections actually took place in centers, urban centers. We had how did they call it? They brought some polling stations together. Is that what is going to take place? For example, in the Donga Mountain, for example, a lot of polling stations were centered in Kambe, and in the Mezam, a lot in Bamenda, and so what we're going to have this.
I mean, if we say that the war is over, then we should be able to go in there and vaccinate our people. Period.
Thanks, Dr. Nick Banyami. It was an interesting chat with you, Doc.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're happy that you stayed with us. Stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television.